Most women think they know when they're ovulating. They've been told it's day 14. They're using ovulation strips. They're timing everything perfectly. And yet, it's still not happening. So here's the question no one's asking. What if you're not ovulating when you think you are? If you're ready to actually understand what your body is doing, you don't want to miss this episode. So let's dive in. Welcome to Faith Over Pharma, the podcast for women who want a different way to heal. I'm Susan Gladstein, holistic health practitioner and functional nutrition specialist, and here we explore faith-led, holistic approaches to hormones, energy, and symptoms that just keep getting brushed off. If that's you, you're in the right place. If you've been trying to get pregnant and every month feels like a mix of hope, confusion, and second guessing, I want you to know there's a reason. And it's not because your body isn't working. It's usually because no one has taken the time to look at the full picture. It's exactly what I do inside the Rooted Fertility Audit. We look at your cycle, your timing, your labs, and the patterns that are often missed so they can move forward with clarity instead of guessing. You can learn more and apply at susangladstein.com/fertility. Most women think they understand ovulation until they actually start trying to track it. You pee on the strips, you watch the lines, and you think you're doing everything right. And then your body does something that makes absolutely no sense. You have an early surge or no surge, your temperature shift that doesn't match, and suddenly you're questioning everything. I see it all the time. Women who are doing everything they've been told to do, but still feel confused. So today, I want to simplify all of this because ovulation is not really as complicated as it's been made to feel, but it has been misunderstood. Before I got into this work, before I became a fertility awareness practitioner, I didn't know any of this either. I mean, when we were trying for our first vasectomy reversal baby, I truly thought I understood my cycle. I thought I knew when I was ovulating. I was just plugging things into an app. I thought we were timing things correctly. But looking back now, I didn't know what I didn't know. And honestly, I believe it's a big reason that it took us a lot longer to conceive. Because there's a very specific window each cycle where pregnancy is even possible. And if you don't understand how to identify that window, you can be doing everything quote unquote right and still miss it. And that's kind of the part that no one talks about, especially in fertility clinics. I see this time and time again, that they just are told, it's not happening, give it a year. So I was listening to a study recently that I thought was really interesting. And it looked at one simple question. Are women actually accurate when estimating when they ovulate? Or are we just way off? And what's important to understand is these weren't really just random women. These women in this study were actively trying to conceive. They're already paying attention and seeking information. They'd already been trying. So if anyone should have had a good understanding of their cycle, I think it would have been this group. So in the study, there were 330 women that were chosen, and on average, they'd already been trying to conceive for about 8 months. Again, on average, these weren't, beginners. These women had already been putting in effort for months. And what the researchers did was actually quite simple. They asked the women to estimate when they thought that they ovulated. And then they compared that to LH testing. And now this is really important to understand. LH does not confirm ovulation. It tells us when ovulation is likely to happen. So even in this study, we're still looking at an estimate. But even with that, the gap was significant. Only 12.7% of women correctly identified their ovulation day. Let that sink in for a little bit. These women were already trying to conceive. They were paying attention. They were actively learning. And almost 90% of them were off. And even when we widened the margin, only 56% were even within 2 days, which means almost half were still off by more than that. And when your fertile window is only about 6 days total, being off by a couple of days can mean that you completely missed your opportunity that cycle. And I see this play out all the time. Most women assume that they ovulate around day 14, and the studies showed the same thing. Day 14 and 15 were the most common guesses, but that's really based off of a model, not real life. So here's what's actually happening in your body. The first half of your cycle, from your period to ovulation, is the variable part. That's where your body is building an egg, responding to hormones, assessing your energy, stress, and environment. And only when your body feels supported enough does it move towards ovulation. So this is the part that I really want to foot stomp here. Ovulation is an energy-dependent process. Your body needs enough nutrients, balanced hormones, proper signaling from the brain, and a nervous system that doesn't feel constantly stressed. So if any of that is off, your body will delay ovulation, or it'll attempt it multiple times, or even send mixed signals. And this is why so many women see either early LH surges, multiple surges, confusing temperature patterns. It's not random. It's actually the body communicating with you. And that's why also a lot of charts can feel confusing. I see this a lot in my clients and in Facebook communities that I'm in, because most women are relying on one tool, or they're expecting a textbook cycle, or they're trying to make their body fit that model. So instead of asking, what is my body actually doing right now, which is a completely different approach, here's what I found really powerful about that study. 130 women conceived, and the pregnancy rates increased significantly over just a few cycles. So these women who had already been trying, something shifted. And what changed wasn't their body overnight, it was their understanding. When they could better identify ovulation, they could better time the timing. And this is huge because research shows that when you're timing intercourse correctly within that 6-day fertile window, you reduce the time to pregnancy. And I'll say this too, for couples who feel like they're struggling, this really gives you answers faster, because if you know your timing is correct and it's still not happening, it tells you that you maybe need to look deeper. And obviously after a vasectomy reversal is a whole other can of worms where you're looking at both the male and female. But I do want to clear up some things that I've seen in different places. Ovulation only happens once per cycle, not multiple times, not randomly, once. But what can happen is that your body can try more than once. It can send multiple signals. It can build up and then pause. But if you don't understand that, it can feel like your body is all over the place. I see this a lot, especially with couples who are trying to conceive after a vasectomy reversal. Women tell me all the time, everything was predictable before, and now all of a sudden my cycles are off, or I used to know exactly when I ovulated, and now something's happened. And it's easy to assume something's wrong, but what's actually happening is your body is responding to change, because your cycle is incredibly sensitive to your environment. So things like stress, poor sleep, travel, changes in routine, or even the emotional weight of trying to conceive, all of that impacts your hormones. And when your hormones shift, your ovulation timing can shift. So maybe what used to be a 14-day ovulation cycle can suddenly become day 16 or 18, or even just feel completely unpredictable altogether. And no one really teaches us this. We're taught to expect consistency. And without understanding what actually creates that consistency, in the first place. So when things change, like after reversal or when you actively start trying, it's not that your body is broken, it's that your body is adapting. And that's what is so incredible about the way God created our bodies. But if you don't understand that your body is this incredible machine that will adapt to things that are going on in this broken world, it can feel like everything is off. But when you do understand it, you stop trying to force your cycle into a timeline and you start learning how to read what your body is actually doing. And this is where I see a lot of women get stuck. Because once things feel unpredictable, once your timing shifts or your body is not following the pattern that you expected, it's easy to go one of two directions. You either start tracking everything, so you're doing multiple LH tests a day, you're over analyzing every single temperature, questioning every symptom, and it starts feeling stressful and all-consuming. Am I right? Or maybe you pull back completely. You stop tracking, you stop paying attention because it all feels so overwhelming, stressful, and honestly, a little discouraging. But here's what I want you to know. Tracking is not the problem, and not tracking isn't the solution. The true goal that I hope you will take from this is just understanding. Because when you understand that your body is responding, not malfunctioning, you stop trying to control it and you start learning how to read it. And that's a completely different experience. So instead of asking, why is this happening? What did I do wrong? You start asking, what is my body telling me? And that shift alone changes everything. And I also want to say this because this isn't just for women who are trying to get pregnant. Even if you're not trying to conceive, I truly believe that your cycle is still one of the clearest windows to your overall health. So your ovulation timing, your cycle length, your symptoms, they're all telling you something about your hormones, your metabolism, your stress load, and how supported your body actually feels. I get messages daily for women who are having struggles with their periods. And of course, the doctors are just going to tell you, well, you need to just get on birth control, or you need to take, hormone replacement therapy if you're in that perimenopause phase, and that's going to fix everything. And it upsets me because I don't think most women are taught to look at it as the cycle being a picture of your overall health. We've kind of been taught to just ignore our cycles or override them or just suppress them altogether. And I'll be honest, I honestly think that there's a reason for that, because if you actually understand your body, you don't rely on quick fixes the same way. You start asking better questions, you start paying attention to patterns, and you start realizing that your body is not random. And that changes everything. So whether you're trying to conceive or you just know something is off, you have low energy, poor sleep, hormone symptoms, cycle irregularity, your cycle is one of the first places I look because it gives us clues that a lot of other things don't. So if your cycles felt different lately, or your timing feels off, if things don't look the way they used to, I want you to know it doesn't mean something is wrong. It just means your body is responding to the environment, your stress levels, maybe your current season. And when you understand how to read those signals, you're no longer guessing every month. You're truly able to make informed decisions. And that's where clarity comes from. And it's the exact work that I do with women and couples, not just helping you track, but really help you understand what your body is doing, why maybe your timing may have shifted, what needs to be supported so that things become clear and more consistent. Because when you have that clarity, you stop spinning your wheels and you start moving forward with intention. So if you're ready for that, you can apply for a rooted fertility audit at susangladstein.com/fertility. Thanks for listening to Faith Over Pharma. If this helped cut through the noise, share it with a friend who always asks, do you think this actually works? And if you're ready to go deeper through immersive retreats, phototherapy, or the Rooted Reset, you'll find your next steps at susangladstein.com.
Thanks for listening.